drove, what the cost of that trip was, and what refund you'll expect to receive. And then, of course, you can categorize each trip as personal or business, or you can categorize it as none of those. And essentially, that's my application. So, are there any questions? Yes?
Where do I sign up?
So the app will be made live. I'm not sure what time frame, probably a matter of months. The app will be made live on the Tourmaline Labs domain of trip-tragger.com. So you'll be seeing that soon.
The app's live, but Ryan's backend is eventually being released. That's the subject.
So it's in the App Store. If you wanted to download that, it's there on the Google Play and Apple Store.
So are you pulling all the data from the app, or are you?
Yes. So there's a backend, and there's an API that interacts with the backend in the database, and it stores all the actual information that I took on my trip, and that's what we're seeing here on the screen.
So can you manually enter data here on the web dashboard, like if you forgot your phone, or?
You know, the feature to manually enter data, as far as like a new trip, isn't a feature at the moment. I don't know if that's something that they're planning to implement in the future, but that's not a current feature.
What would be interesting, too, is adding a feature where you can put in alternative forms of transportation. So if I drive to a train and I jump on the train, I can add the train in as part of that trip. But do you port the data out, or can they port it out to API to a fleet manager, for instance, or somebody for reimbursement on a company-wide basis?
Yeah, you know what? The front end that I built is working directly with an API that the company, Tourmaline, created. So I don't see any reason why they couldn't, use a similar process and do whatever they wanted with that data.
Because they can port it through your system to generate the reports of the.
Yeah, and you know what? This is sort of sprint one. So there are several features that I plan to implement going forward that sort of just aren't part of this version. But yeah, so yeah, this is sort of where we're at today. And then there's like some search options that I plan to implement in Sprint 2. So filtering through dates, looking at specific information, stuff like that.
Is this tied into Tourmaline's driver quality scoring, so that on that trip I know if you were being a jerk or no? So if I'm an employer and I have a fleet out there of 300 people, I want to know which people are the highest risk drivers. That would be really best.
I don't want to give inaccurate information. I know they have another app called Better Ways, and I think that there are other applications they've developed that I think are more for group management as opposed to individual management. And I think this one really targets the individual, like the entrepreneur or the small business owner who's like a sole proprietor, and they're trying to write off things on their taxes, or they just want to see where they drove. Yeah. Yes?
Technically, you can measure a couple of interesting things with GPS and accelerometers and things like that, but you might have already answered this, but what technologies have you?
Oh, great question. So I didn't even get to my last slide, but let me put that up there for you guys. So I used React, including React Router, the Google Maps API, Redux, and React, once again. Any other questions?
Real quick, too, we actually have a panel that I forgot to introduce to give feedback. So we have, we'll all let them introduce themselves and then kind of give feedback based on their context of what part of tech they come from, doing their first job.
Yeah, so my name is John. I'm a technical recruiter here in San Diego. Work for a company called Save Solutions. Been in the business for about 4 or 5 years. San Diego for about 3.5 of that.
My name's Eric Gasser. I'm with Origins Code Academy. I at least have a shirt on now. I'm with Seed San Diego. We look for passionate entrepreneurs with great ideas. They're looking to grow their businesses. So if you've got passion and a great idea, you want to talk to me.
And I'm Allison Long-Petit, I'm also with San Diego, so Aaron covered it for us.
So in terms of things that, if you want to go first, John, feedback of like what reviews, usually they go through the final project in the first interview, like things that you hit on that you would come express in the interview, advice in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, in general, I mean, I think the product's pretty cool. Breaking down, you know, maybe different aspects of the application where you use different technologies could be helpful. You know, I know that this, for the most part, this displays information that's coming from, you know, from their data store, but, you know, like how you access the information, you know, just any pieces of it that you built in different languages and how you tied them in would be helpful just to see, you know, what aspects of the application were done in different, you know, different languages and things like that. It's helpful.
Great.
And for Eric and Allison, how would we get you to necessarily invest per se? Just go ahead and tell them, and then you can try to check.
I would just say, I mean, I think it's really interesting, and I think that, you know, it's obviously in kind of a project that pulls into another database, and you're working with Tourmaline Labs, but maybe just a little bit more on how this could be a standalone, right? And are there other ways, just from a business perspective, that maybe you could license this to them, but then also license it to other companies who are maybe in different industries or something that would make it more valuable. So just think about that.
Stress relevance on the problem that you're solving. So you said sometimes, like, if you're just a casual driver and you want to know where you're going and how much it costs, and that's kind of the relevance piece. And then you also touched on if you're getting reimbursement, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think those play a really important role in like how you articulate the message of what you built, and then also kind of maybe providing at least one sentence that says why that thing that you built and why it's relevant, how hard it was to do. So for instance, we do this, we track this point to this point so you can do expense reimbursement. By the way, we're using 3 types of technology to make this happen. It's not the easiest thing, but that's how it was done, right? So then you're at least providing some sort of like relevance to its importance as well as relevance to its complexity, so that us here thinking, oh yeah, this is easy, you just put a line on a map, right? You've now kind of given us 3 sentences that kind of support why that's important. And you shouldn't talk like that much about every little thing, but the stuff that's actually important.
Awesome. Any additional questions?
Yeah, how long have you been working on this?
Around 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Nice work. Good job.
Oh, I'm taking the microphone with me. Okay. Oh.
Probably you. You're probably talking to us.
It's. Oh, it's a microphone.
We don't have Lexus, but I'm okay with that. So you want to sit on this side or? Well, computer's on this side, doesn't matter. So we'll just stay on this side. You need the HDMI though? Huh? You need that? Oh.
Well, I think one of
All right, when you guys speak, there's going to be near me.
Go near you?
But maybe I don't know if we might need to like change like.
Actually, we just hand it off.
You want to hand it off?
Just talk like with it.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out.
Oh, okay. We could just yell. No, so don't. You can just like pass it around and use your hand.
Do you have to press a button or anything, or
Yeah,
just?
because it's only for the live stream, so people can hear
Gotcha.
like what you're saying. So whoever's not mic'd, just like hold it, and it might feel weird, but it'll sound way better on the.
So you just want us to hold it?
Yeah, just hold it.
Okay, like this side?
Yeah, that's good.
Wait, Jeff, you said there's a button on there? Or?
No. Just hold it. Just hold it.
Gotcha.
All right, you guys ready?
Hold on.
Do you have both screens set up? We're just oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with group number 2. I'll let you guys go.
All right, ready? All right, good afternoon. Exciting day. We are Team Bunchkins. Let's start off with introductions. My name is Vincent. A little bit of Vincent Duong. A little bit about myself. I am a aerospace engineer graduate from UCSD. I worked for a couple years, and I got laid off. Unfortunate times, but I saw it as an opportunity to pursue something that I've been interested in, which is coding. I was lucky enough to find Origin, and even more luckier to find the cohort that I am currently in. I've had a great time at this academy.
How's it going, guys? My name is Christian Nagal. Prior to Origin Code Academy, I had little to no coding experience. I was in the restaurant industry for about 3 years, and I was going to school for mathematics. However, later on down the line, I realized I wasn't as passionate about math as I thought I was, so I decided to dabble in computer science. However, I didn't want to spend another 2 to 3 years in school. So I looked on ads on the internet and Facebook, and I came across Origin Code Academy, so I decided to give it a try. And fast forward, here I am today, and it was a great experience learning from everybody.
Hi everyone, my name's Catherine Marino. I'm a chemistry graduate from UCSB. I found myself questioning where to go next in my career, and at the same time I was kind of automating some repetitive tasks at work. I fell in love with programming, so I found myself here, and it's been a blast. I've had a lot of fun learning a lot about coding.
Hey everybody, my name is Mark Zimmer. I've been a full-time student for as long as I can remember. I've completed courses in everything from woodworking to aeronautics. Prior to this, I was working for a company called Taylor Guitars. I became their lead in their body development and decided to pursue something a little different. And coding was what I remembered was my most enjoyable course from college. So I found Origin through a buddy, and here I am.
All right. So, I think hopefully everyone can agree, or most people can agree. I think a fun way to have fun with your friends is to actually play a card game. It's always fun to play with your friends. So what Bunchkins is it's a multiplayer online dungeon adventure card game. So the objective in the game is you enter the dungeon to battle monsters and level up. You try to find treasures to equip so you can get stronger. And you want to do your best to betray your opponents.
as much as you can, or you can ally with them if you want. You can use spells. You gain levels by defeating monsters and spells. And the first one to reach level 10 is first one to reach level 10 by defeating a monster will obtain
Ultimate victory. That took us a while, sorry.
Yeah. Christian will go into game rules.
All right. So the game flow is as follows. Players proceed by knocking on the door, and you can draw either one of three cards. You draw a monster card, a curse card, or a spell card. If a player draws a monster card, they're prompted with two options. You can either run away from the monster or fight the monster. If your combat power is higher than the monster's level, you can go ahead and fight it. However, during the process of fighting a monster, other opponents could add to the stack pile by making the monster stronger, so thwarting your process of beating the monster. And if you cannot defeat the monster, you would have to run away. If you cannot run away from the monster, bad things happen to you. If you do not draw a monster card, you either draw a spell or a curse card. From there, you can either look for trouble, which is fighting a monster, or looting from the room, is drawing another card. You draw a random card from the pile, and then from there on, you can either play an equipment card, a spell, or a curse card, and then end your turn. All right, so this is our combat field. Our UI elements contain the active player, the player, a name, their level, combat level, the current game state, as well as how many players have passed during the combat phase. As you see right here, we have the monster on the field with the player combat bonus and the monster combat bonus. Other players and their stats and their combat power, and your stats and combat power. And depending on the game phase, you are prompted with buttons as follows. It doesn't show up here, but the hand and equipment field are on the bottom. Right? And there are 4 different kinds of cards. We have equipment cards, combat spell cards, monster cards, and curse cards. Right? And we will have Katie with the technologies used in the project.
All right, so for this application, we use C# to write the back end. All the cards are stored in a SQL Server database, which is communicated with the C# using Entity Framework. On the front end, we used AngularJS. We used Bulma for the CSS components, but we also wrote a lot of custom CSS ourselves. And then to communicate between the front end and the back end, we used a really cool technology called SignalR, which allows them to communicate in real time and call methods on the back end as if it were just like a front end method. So it's a really cool technology that allowed us to have multiple players with their clients communicating in real time. And we're going to go ahead and demonstrate the game for you.
I don't know. I'll just put it in the middle, I guess. It's all good.
Alright, so as you can see, Vincent has created a hosting room, and when he puts his name down, he can create a unique ID so he can send to the other players to input, and he will send it through the Slack channel for everyone to pick up.
We like kitties.
Normal conversation for us.
Are you doing it?
No, that's too much time. Alright, so we have Krillin and the other player join the green.
We're going to redo it really quick.
What are you doing?
Yeah, you
Go, Mark. Oh. Hold up.
No?
refresh.
Good. Oh, did I get the right one? Okay. There we go. No, go back as Krillin.
Fine. Alright, so our players are Krillin, Bulma, and Goku. And we proceed to start the game.
Oh yes, I got a Cameron curse. Nice.
So we put a little Easter eggs in the game. We put various people from our cohort and other inside jokes within the game as Easter eggs. As you can see, all of the players have different cards they can play. And during this phase, you can equip cards if you would like to. And we can proceed with the draw state and combat state.
And one of the cool things we accomplished is that you can see in real time what the other people are playing as well.
Wait, who played that? Oh, Katie. Alright, I'll keep that in mind.
You already clicked faster, bro.
Shoot. Oh, shoot. Alright, since I cannot defeat this and I doubt they would help me, I'm going to play this escape monster card, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to play this and get out of it, get a treasure in my turn. After I wind up the GM, which levels me up. Okay. Sorry. And my turn. So we implemented an end turn phase because in the munching game, there's actually a time sequence, and we want to be able to know when it's a good time to go.
Yeah. So I have a combat power of 6, and the monster's level is 10, so there's no way I can beat this.
Hey, Krillin.
And I don't have any cards to do anything.
You want to help me out? If I help you out?
All right, help me out, bro.
You can help me out later, right?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna help you out this time.
So Vincent just played a player combat bonus card, so now I've got enough combat power to actually defeat the monster with 11. So I can fight it. I got 3 cards for defeating it, and I'll end my turn.
You're boned.
I'm just gonna run.
So that monster was level 20, didn't have a chance of beating it, whether with help or not, so they had to run away.
Just because, what the heck? Krillin played 200, it's like a Don Beetle. So just because I think Katie had a equip, maybe I didn't want to make her weaker. I want to target her.
I don't know.
I'll loot the room.
Where's my card?
I'm going to enter. What is? Target player lose 2 levels. Alright, get some more.
Give me a speed card.
Yep. So I don't have a way to actually beat this monster, and Vincent already helped me out, so I'm not going to ask him again. So I'm going to use this escape combat spell to avoid this monster entirely.
Alright, so I drew a card instead of ending up in combat this turn, so I can either choose to fight a monster and look for trouble, or I can loot the room and just draw another card. I'm going to choose to draw a card because I'm not very strong right now, so hoping for something good. And I'll end my turn.
Oh, nice. Oh, what? Hey, it's not.
I definitely get that.
So you can see that both Vincent and Katie haven't passed because the players that passed hasn't done anything yet.
Against you.
So I have to wait for them to actually pass.
You know,
but
I'm gonna do something too. I'm gonna play something against you too.
Yeah.
Hey, kindergartner.
Alright, but that's all I have to play, so I'm going to pass.
No, I totally can't win. So yeah, since I can't actually beat them because they have a total power of 7 and I'm only combat power 6, if I try to fight, we get a warning saying please run away. So I'm going to have to run. I couldn't escape the meat and snot, so I lost my level for that, but I escaped from the kindergartner, so there's that.
Alright, and play kind of proceeds like that until one of the players reaches level 10. And for your final level, you have to reach that by defeating a monster. So it gets really intense at the end as everyone's trying to prevent you from winning. So.
Hey, Mark.
How do you increase your power?
So you increase your power by equipping things. So I don't know if I have anything right now. As you can see, the shield that I have equipped has a bonus of 4. So right now, my CP is my combat power is my current level plus the bonus amount on my equipment. So
how do you move up a level?
You move up a level by defeating a monster. There's also some spell cards that allow you to increase your level.
And
I'm curious from Eric and Allison's perspective, how do games like what's the game market?
we're not. I'm not the right person.
Well, I mean, I just from a macro perspective, it's really tough because it's so competitive, right? I mean, you've got games from every which angle, and so, the first thing is just getting people to find out about it, and then, because how would anyone, you just go to iTunes, and that's the most popular category of games, right? So how do you find out about it, right? And then also, I would just say like desktop games. Like, are people still playing games on their desktop as much anymore? And I don't know if the intent is to play in a room with each other, like because you guys were talking to each other, right? So I don't know if that's the intent, and like you're like, oh, like there's an interaction, or if it's supposed to be a virtual,
right, like over the internet.
Yeah.
Right, and this is obviously an early version of it. We would like to implement like a chat so you could talk if you weren't actually in the same room, but we also kind of envision that it would be fun to play together as a party game. Yeah. Either way.
So I have seen games get funding, and the one thing that is kind of consistent and what makes them stand out in their presentation and what they've built is the way they share the message of the game. So they actually start in the reverse of what you guys do. They start with the emotion that this game is going to bring to the user. They start with the winning element, and they say you're going to, the goal is to win this trophy. Yours is to beat the monster, right? Or the dragon.
We're actually trying to beat each other.
Okay, so that's not. There's an ultimate goal, right? So to get to level 10, right? So what I've noticed in the pitches that are around the game, it's all about they simplify everything. They don't ever really talk about the complexities of the card play, the complexities of the moving pieces. They just talk about the emotion that they're going to be able to get the end user, the user to kind of feel. And that's what triggers like this emotional connection between the user, the game player, and the game. And all the finer moving parts are they change. And so addressing them up front might be premature because as you develop the game and get more feedback from the users, those finer moving parts are going to change.
That's great.
So. And then just from a recruiting standpoint, you guys pick the right tech stack to go out in San Diego market with, for sure. Angular, Entity, C#. One thing that just as a group of 4, and one thing that anyone else who did a project in a group is going to want to keep in mind is that when you're going to interview, you're probably not going with your whole group. So just being able to speak to what it is that you individually built, like within it, because we hear this a lot where, an employer will say, all right, well, yeah, he worked on this great application. He told me about all this stuff he did, but it turns out, he only worked on one portion of it and didn't actually touch any of the technology that, is on his resume. It says that he used all this technology, but he only worked on one piece of it. Obviously, you guys are presenting the whole project, but just when you guys, if you do go into interviews and things like that and bring the project to the table, one thing you want to do is, hey, as a group, we did this, but my specific contributions were here, and be able to really spell that out to people, because if they see, you're on a team of 4, and all they see is like the product and the team of 4, they don't know what you actually did. So it's just one thing that you guys will want to bring the interviews with you is like where you worked, difficulties you faced and overcame, throughout that process.
I would also just say one more thing in terms of the presentation style. So I agree with Eric about simplifying and kind of like distilling it to some emotion, but also one good way to simplify it, especially with games, is if you could anchor someone to like, this game is sort of like X game that they already know, because there's, it's complicated, and that flow chart that you guys have, like, pick a card, don't pick a card, like this, that, like, it's hard to follow. Right. But if your mind goes to, oh, that's like this game, then it's a lot easier then to understand and helping them, like you're already a step ahead, right? Because your brain kind of attaches to something that you know.
And we'll go with like a max of like 3 questions just so we keep people.
Have you considered doing something where you can mask what your power is so that the other opponents have to do some figuring, and also like a machine learning aspect that learns player behavior so that it can score them and show them as a real bonehead or a real team player. But because when you get in that bigger league play and worldwide play, it'll be much more fascinating to have a mystery factor. So knowing what everybody's score is, you know who to target and people know who to team up on. But not knowing that could help you lure people in and instead of earlier, you don't get the game.
Interesting things to consider, actually. I mean, I know we're at an early version, so we have a lot of things that we want to add. That's definitely sounds really neat.
I'm curious what your QA process is. I mean, it seems like pretty complex implementation. Is there any kind of manual or ongoing testing behind what's going on or anything like that?
Play the game, when it breaks, fix it.
We have not written any tests yet. It was mostly trying to get something ready for the presentation. I would like to add that, but right now it's a lot of manual testing, very trying to find specific scenarios to replicate. Any other questions?
Good job.
I like how interactive yours is.
Yeah.
So we'll have to use one machine. Is that cool? My machine's being used for live streaming. So one machine. That's fine. I'll just, maybe we'll just open up another. You can just log in, log out, and log back in. You have to log out right now. I just kind of go back to the home page. It works. Okay. I can see it. It'll work. Okay, cool. I'll stay. Yep.
All right. How's everybody doing? Good. My name is Ryan Dowdy, and I'm going to talk to you today about Mixulus, which is the app I've been working on for the past month or so. Before I dive in, I just want to give you a little bit of background about myself. I was born and raised in Maryland, and as a matter of fact, I also went to college there, University of Maryland. I studied computer engineering. It was in college, actually, that I fell in love with coding, and I've been in love with it ever since, for the most part. After college, I got a job as quality assurance engineer at a company that does sensor processing technology. Over the course of that time, I met a lot of great people and did a lot of really great work. But I also realized that it was about time to maybe shift into something that's more developmental so I can get my hands a little bit dirtier. Combine that with a desire to move out here to beautiful Southern California, although a little cloudy today, that's okay. If this is like a bad day, then that's fine, you know. So that's what brought me here today to Origin. And it's been an amazing 3 months, and I've learned an incredible amount, and the people here are just like so awesome. So that's me, and now let me tell you about Mixulus. Mixulus is an online collaborative music production application. What does that mean? Okay, well, I'll tell you a story. When I was in college, I lived in the dorms the first 2 years, and the thing about the dorms that's really amazing is that you can walk down the hall and hang out with your friend who's just a couple doors down, and you know, he's just hanging out in his room. You can go in your socks, and what I would do every now and then is bring, you know, my ukulele, and we'd go and we'd jam, and it was easy, it was no pressure, and we'd make some really amazing stuff. After college, it became a little bit harder. I couldn't walk down the hall. I had to coordinate schedules. I had to drive to his house, or he had to drive to my house, and then we had to sit there for a couple hours and be creative. We had to schedule our creativity because you know, we were busy. You know, after college, you don't have the sort of freedom that you have now. I actually live on the other side of the country as my friend, so I can't even drive to his place anymore. So I actually visited him about a month ago. We were talking about how, like, you know, about some ways that we could write music together. And I said, oh, you know, well, maybe I'll record something, and then I'll make an MP3 file, and I'll email it to you. And that's cool, and that probably would work okay. But it kind of like destroys the creativity process, because now there's this barrier that I need to make something that I feel is good enough to download and send to my friend. And that's really not what the whole thing is about. Creativity is a very fragile process. So that desire, that problem is kind of what Mixulus is born out of. It takes all that away. Now, with Mixulus, you can record your music and then access it again anywhere that you have internet access. And not only can you do that, but you can add your friends as collaborators to this project, and then they now also have access to what you've recorded from wherever they are. So you don't even need to be in the same room or even be working on the music at the same time. So now it's so much easier for when, God forbid, inspiration strikes and you are not in the same room together, you can now record and then send it to your friend. You guys can go back and forth. So that's kind of what this is all about. The actual technology itself, the tech stack, it's a mean stack. Mostly just because I wanted to learn about how to do a mean stack. I've got Mongo, Express, and Node on the back end. I'm doing authentication with Passport and JWT. And then I'm also using Socket.io to talk to the front end. When a user records on the app, they're just pumping their data through this socket to the back end. Then on the front end, of course, I've got Angular, and I'm making heavy use of the Web Audio API, which is just so amazing. So, all right. Let's see what this thing does. You sign up, easy, nothing, and then I've already got my stuff in here. So, okay, so your home page is just where all your collaborations are currently listed. You can make a new one, or you can go work on some other ones. I've got this one is grayed out for me because I sent it back over to my friend to work on it, so I can't work on it till he's done. I'm going to open just a new one. This is your workspace page. This is where the magic happens. And it's really mostly blank because the focus of this is your music after all. So what I'm going to do is just record a little thing real quick. I'm going to have like a little beat because I want to collaborate on something with Cameron because he is a pretty good guitar player. So I'm going to have some hi-hats, and then maybe I'll have like some snaps, and maybe even claps. All right. All right. Hi-hats. That'll do. All right. So real quick, I'm going to record some claps, but because it's actually going to play back the sound so that I have something to record to, I'm going to put it in my earbuds so it doesn't record that and we get some like weird echo effect. All right, so when you record, this is true of anything that involves like integrated sound cards. There's like an inherent delay, so it's actually not going to be timed up quite right. So I'm just going to nudge it a little bit with my arrow keys. Okay, that might work. Okay. All right, that'll do. I'm gonna turn down the hi-hats a little bit just because they're a little loud. Oh yeah. All right, that's cool. I think that's gonna be like the next big thing for sure.
So that's my ringtone.
I'm gonna send it over to Cameron because I know that he can drop like some really crazy riff on top of it. So Cameron will be one. It's his username, so I'm just gonna add him onto it, and I'm done with it. So I'm gonna commit those changes and send it over his way. His computer is actually being taken right now, so what I'm going to do instead is just have him log in on my computer. I don't know your password, though.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Ryan is up to today.
He's been busy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you got to write more music, man.
All right, so I have some visions for the future of this. There's some things that need to change that are going to make the success of this pretty crucial. Sound files are big, and they need to stay lossless. I need to be able to load these really fast. So in the future, I'm going to maybe implement some compression, and then also maybe even allow users to make changes in real time. So Cameron's going to add a new track onto this, and then he's going to arm that track before he records, and then he's going to drop some licks. That'll be good. There's going to be kind of like a weird echo, so just know that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, is that just because you didn't have headphones in? So
yeah.
Yeah, so let's try that again.
Cool. Awesome. So again, we're going to have a delay. Integrated sound cards do that. I'm going to turn his track up a little bit too. So that's it. I mean, I gotta move this around a little bit just to kind of get everything timed up. But that's Mixulus in a nutshell. Questions?
yeah, have you researched competitors that are doing anything similar?
There's two people, there's two companies I've seen that are doing the collaboration sort of idea online, but they don't have like an actual workspace that's like on their website. They want you to still be using your own digital audio workstation, and they're just kind of sharing files back and forth. It's close though.
You started with kind of, I liked your kind of how you set the stage for what you were going to talk about. If I was going to like present this in a different way, I would actually set up something that was pretty cool. It has like, 5 or 6 things that were shared back and forth, and play it, and then go, okay, this is how we get it.
Yeah.
Because trying to recreate like a really good sound is hard, especially when you've got about 4 or 5 people staring at you and another 40 with their jaws open because it's so cool. So, just like, I would probably just think about that.
For sure.
Other than that, he's cool, man.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job of framing. I think you did a good job of framing why you're doing this and kind of the problem that you're solving. Yeah, I would just think about, who is the target market? So within, the landscape of music collaborators, is it, like it's probably not a college student because, like you were saying, they can walk to each other's dorm rooms.
Yeah.
So who is it? And then how much are they willing to pay for it?
Sure.
Because I think at the end of the day, it's great to have a free piece of software, but you want to be revenue generating.
Yeah.
And so, what's the value of it to someone? Is it like a virtual band sort of thing? Is it a few guys who are just collaborating with each other? So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe there could be like just different tiers too, depending on what sort of collaborating you're doing.
Yeah.
But
And I
definitely
think
something to think about.
But I wouldn't get ahead of yourself, right? I think that the beauty of what you have right now is it's very simple. And the easier you make it, your first iteration at least, the more people will want to use it. And so what I would do is just think about, okay, who is really going to value what I've built today? And if you're actually thinking of building a company out of this, try and get some market validation. Right? So just go out to a few different demographic types and see if they'd be willing to pay for it on either a subscription basis or, you get X number of, shares a month or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Have you considered letting people use it for spoken word or rap, for instance? So kids that just don't have the ability to get down to Atlanta or Detroit, or to be able to share, different street music that they want to collaborate on, but not have the opportunity to do something like this. So it could be just not only music, but spoken word as well.
Oh yeah, anything. I mean, anything that you can record can go on this.
Because that could be a great collaborator tool, and that the music could be ported off to the producer, and they'll find talent like no other.
Yeah, it'd be cool to build like kind of like a community around this, and if it has like enough exposure, people could. I mean, then it becomes accessible to anybody, and then writing music is again like even easier. I mean, it's like it's not nearly as hard as it used to be now that we have the internet, but there's still a lot of barriers for a lot of people. So this could make it.
You could tie musicians to the performers. You're literally disrupting the recording industry, which would be a manna from heaven.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be too cool.
Well, what's the likelihood of doing real-time collaboration?
That's actually where I see this going. I think it's totally possible. The original idea was to have it go back and forth, but as I was working on this, and coming up to today, like I think this could be like a Google Docs of music production. You could be working on it in real time with your friends. There's of course some hiccups that would need to be addressed, but it's totally possible. It's exactly where I see it. True
No,
that.
because there's a grander vision, right? And that's always, at least what investors want to buy into. It's like, okay, this could really go big and could be mainstream, and then it's kind of a go-to for people.
Yeah.
So I agree. There's nothing in that space right now, so it's kind of yours.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Yo.
I think you did a great job. You took software that cost $600 to $1,000 to do and produce it professionally, and you created it, and someone can do it for free. And you do different tiers, like different levels where now you can be quantizing it. They're paying $100 a month. It's different levels, you know what I mean? Different plugins.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, this is great. Literally, it's an Ableton online.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different places you could take this. Like, it's really awesome. I'm super excited about it.
Software right now.
It's on the internet.
Is it? Anyone can register for that?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
He's like, right now,
Do it.
it's $99.99.
Yeah.
You better put a paywall up now.
I'll be checking usernames. If you're John Broderick, you need to pay extra.
This one is definitely
This one? Most of it's not. The majority of the presentation on there is so.
Yeah, that is going to be better. Well, it's already
You didn't know that?
It's super easy. What are you guys? What are you guys, noobs?
Where's the
Markboard. Sorry, you're Mixulus.
That one right there.
Sorry?
No, it's over the edge of the. No, it's this one.
Oh, I was like, where's that? I thought that was a mic.
Is there only one mic? Everyone can see? I know we're both like kind of getting. All right. All right. My name is. All right. Okay. Cool. My name is Jason Land. My background is I actually was a lit major from UC Santa Cruz. That didn't. I eventually transitioned to a front end dev, so I have a little bit of experience, but I felt like I wasn't really getting the sort of further learning at my previous position. So when I went looking for educational options, Origin Code Academy came up, and I was excited because while I had front end, they were also teaching back end, and that was a big part of my goals. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Hey guys, my name is Reggie Sibley. Prior to Origin, I just graduated from high school 3 years ago. So instead of taking the traditional route, I was actually coding in my free time and fell in love with it. So it was easy. It was an easy decision to come to something like this when I saw the opportunity. So I'm glad I'm here. I've learned more in these 3 months than I ever did in high school. So I'm really excited to show what we created.
So the app we've created is called Incentify. Slide. The problem we are solving is basically procrastination. There's apps like Team Treehouse, which we'll show you a little bit later as part of our demo, and Duolingo, where you register an account and you learn either like a spoken language, Duolingo, or computer languages with Team Treehouse.
I've signed up for some of these types of things before, and I just, I put it off. Things came up, I lost track, emails stopped coming in to remind me because I know that after like a month, they're just not going to come back. So since this not only, affects me, it's other people, a lot of other people, this is something these types of sites fight, and is also for yourself. You set out to learn something and then you didn't. And it's kind of a small failure. And since so many of us are fighting this, we decided to make, oh, one more.
84 million people are fighting this.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, we've made the app. What it is you register your username in our app, and we start tracking the points. So any website that tracks points, like Duolingo and Team Treehouse do, you set a goal. This week, I'm going to get 100 points, or 200 points, or whatever you feel like is within your grasp. And to fight the procrastination, you also set a penalty. So if you're feeling like you just want to dip your toes in the water, it's $5. And if that week comes and you've gotten 101 points on your goal of 100 points, or even 100, you don't have to exceed it. You're good to go. But if you fail, we charge your credit card $5. Don't fail. We're using Stripe, so you can. They haven't set a limit, but we were worried about it's like, oh, that's like a lot of money coming in all of a sudden. So we set it at $1,000. So if you need motivation, $1,000 per week is what we can provide you. I got that number from also from when I started, or when we all started here. There's a $1,000 deposit, and they said to get on Team Treehouse, and you need a certain amount of points, and they check it. And having half-assedly started Team Treehouse maybe a year and a half ago, I realized I was getting points like never before. $1,000 is a hell of a motivator. So that's where the idea and our app is at. We decided to use kind of like a modification on the mean stack. It's, I guess you could say a Vern stack, but no one really says that. Vue is our front-end technology. It's more component-based like React, but it acts and feels a lot more like Angular when you're actually programming it. Express and Node are the server, so just like the mean stack. And then for the database, we use RethinkDB instead of Mongo. They're very similar. They're both document-driven things. It's easy to, just keep appending these commitments. And also we're tracking how often you check to make sure your points are current. And for styling, we use Bulma.io as well. Why don't you switch it over to the... Can you refresh it? You're going to miss a little bit of the sizzle. Make it 100%. Go with, yeah. Refresh it so the...
All right, check this out.
Together, we can reach your goals.
All right, so when you log into the app, obviously you see this beautiful mountain, as well as the sign-up form. So we'll make this email Jason, looks fresh, at gmail.com. And we'll make his password, password. All right, so we'll go ahead and inside of it. Let's make sure it's spelled right. All right, so there you sign into the app. You're instantly brought to your integrations. So currently we have 2 integrations, Treehouse and Duolingo. We're going to be testing Treehouse. In the future, we plan on having multiple integrations, such as Fitbit. So you should be able to track your... because anything that's point-based should be able to be put on this app. So say you have a Fitbit. If I don't walk 1,000 miles, then I get I get none of my money back. So we're hoping someone makes the mistake of putting 1,000 miles in here. So we're going to use his Treehouse account for the test. It's Jason Land 2.
Then over here, once he's all set up, and he set a goal for
We'll say we'll get 100 points, and everything's a 7-day time span. So he has 7 days to get these 100 points. And we'll just say we'll put $10 on the line for him to accomplish that.
I won't be getting 100 points, but we'll show it updating as I'll ask some of the students in the later cohort here maybe some questions, and hope they don't screw me over.
Can you go to the Stripe dashboard? Yeah, so we're just going to quickly show you like how we're getting your money. It's going to update into our account. Obviously, this is a test account because we're too cheap to use our own money. So we're just going to use some play money right now. There's my credit card information and everything. So I'll go ahead and just pay the $10. And then I'll see that over there on my account. I'll just refresh. One more time. Seriously? It was working 5 minutes ago. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it took a second for the money to get deposited, but there you see it. And then here you see that was added to the dashboard. So currently he said he has a 0 points out of a 100-point goal that he set. As soon as he goes over there and gets some points on Treehouse, it'll update our interface.
So cohort 6, which of the following is a... Oh, I'm already kind of hovering over that. Oh, man. If you get less than 8%, I don't get the points. That's the only one I can miss. Pressure's on.
All right, can we get some help from the cohort? Read the question out loud. It's A. All right. All right. Next question.
Which of the following code samples will create an ordered list? So it's also A this time.
Nice.
Oh, you can see here my point total right now is $55.99. So if I make this, you'll see it go up. Which of the following is a list item tag?
Nice.
All right, last one. Cannot miss this.
Definition title tag.
Is this all right? Oh, definition title tag?
What is that? Anyone? Let's see, all right.
Oh.
All right, finish. All right, so we'll go ahead and just refresh our interface over here.
And so now in the upper corner, the points have gone up.
Yeah, we'll wait for that. And he got 6 points, so he now has 6 out of 100 points for this current goal.
So going forward, this isn't something because we're not collecting any real money yet, but we would want to, there are 2 things that we want to do with your money. First is if you exceed your goal by a certain amount, we want to give some of it back. You know, you're doing a good job, why not get some of it back and take advantage of the suckers who are not motivated? Thank you. The second thing we want to do is also with some of the surplus money is give it to a charity every quarter. So, you know, after we paid out the high achievers, we've covered our costs, our salary and whatnot, we want to also be able to have people we want to have people who are losing money not feel especially bad about it. So charity, that'd be something that could be voted on say the website every quarter. You know, whatever that mark ends up. You know, lots of loser users, more money.
It's going towards a good cause when you lose.
So that is the end of the pitch. Panel.
Well, the charity thing's a great idea. Like at first I was just laughing about this because who wants to just give you guys our money, right? But the charity thing I think is a great idea. If you had like charities someone could choose from, where they could go in and say, all right, well, I'm risking $100 if I don't get this, but you know, 90% of that will go to the charity of my choice, and that's tax deductible and all that jazz. And you guys are keeping 10% just for putting this game in place. Not a bad idea. Just a comment. Like you guys look sharp. Came out with a bunch of energy, a lot of personality. I deal with hiring managers all the time. They love to see that. So like anyone else, that, you know, when you guys go into an interview, you don't want to go in and be quiet and in the corner and getting drilled with questions. A lot of people will hire someone based on personality and aptitude over just experience. Experience is obviously crucial, but one person who's maybe done something versus someone who can figure out how to do it and is fun to have in the office, a lot of times they'll go that way. So just for everyone else who's in the cohorts now, bring your personality to any interviews, anywhere you go to work. Don't just you don't want to check it at the door and just come in stale. So I think you guys did a great job with that.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
So I would just say one thing to be careful of. I think it's a really kind of funny idea, but you want to be careful when your incentives, if you will, are not completely aligned with your customers, right? So it's kind of like the zero-sum game where if they don't win, then you guys win. And that can create a little bit of this, like, you know, like Don was saying, well, I'll just delete the app, right? I mean, if you don't want people to be hating your brand. And there sometimes, you know, there can be this tension between, like, yes, you know, people do want to change, but, like, they don't want to change if they're constantly losing money, right? So I think it's kind of like this thinking through the business model of, okay, is this necessarily the right approach? I mean, maybe you don't bet a certain amount, but maybe there's a penalty, but the upside is greater, right? So maybe like you lose $1, but you can gain $10 or 10 points, which can go towards, you know, a new computer or something like that, right? So I think you want to always be conscious of this, like, we're completely aligned with people that are paying us or that are using us, or else you're going to find drop off.
All right, great, thank you. Well, panel first, and then we got our eyes.
This reminds me, and I'll be quick. This reminds me of a guy who's like a friend of a friend who, and this is a silly story. He said, "I bet I could get people to buy digital goods in a bar." And I was like, we were like, "What in bar?" He's like, "No, like in a digital bar, like a website that's a bar, and you could like click a button and you could buy a beer." And I was like, "What? No, this is stupid." A couple years went by, whatever. The guy was making hundreds of thousands of dollars a day selling drinks. But what he found is that other people like to buy digital goods and stuff for other people. So I would go into a bar, a digital bar, and I'd buy a drink for all the ladies that are logged in. Or I would host, and here's what I'm getting at, is that sometimes the most silliest ideas that everyone thinks is just crazy, no one knows until you throw it out there and see what happens. And this might be one of those where you all can sit at the beach and just collect a check. So don't like test it, try it. Now's the time to fail on it. If it fails, fine. You can go back and start implementing things that maybe make it more socially conscious. Right now, like, you never know, because we make fun of the guy that sold digital beer all the time, because, you know. So anyways, nice work.
Thank you. And then you.
Yes, sir. When you introduced your program, I was excited because I'm one of the 84 million. I thought you were about to solve my problem finally. But I discovered you were just about to punish me.
They don't call this a coding boot camp or nothing.
So just, if you want this program to sell to people like me, and I have many others who want to introduce it, you must build in motivational statements and other things that will motivate people, so that they are not punished financially, but they are rewarded.
I see.
Financially for meeting their goals. Otherwise, after I've lost $10, I don't want to continue
I've done things like this with my friends all the time. In fact, I know a lot of people who just use it as is, but one way that you could incentivize people to use it would be to like give free memberships at other places. So, for example, you team up with Team Treehouse and you say, "Look, I'll give you 25% of my losses if you reward this type of membership for completing, you know, this amount of work." For example.
So reach out to our potential integration partners, and okay, I see.
They would benefit from the losers as well, and you know, the winners have something to go for.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
I would honestly, though, if there was like a 9%. No, I was going to do the charity aspect of that. If I need 90% of the money that's going to a charity of my choice, and it's all tax deductible.
So when you lost the money, just went to charity, right? You lost, but I gave it to charity.
I give to charities. That's what obviously, like, you get like the. You're like, hey, you're like, either I'm completing the learning I want, or I'm going to charity. There's no real loss, right? It's like I'm either.
I still think I know. That's why I was. That's what I was saying.
All you gotta do is look at the computer. So all you gotta do is look at the computer.
Or they're like,
Sounds like a plan. Is connected. There we go. Hello guys, my name is Sebastian Leon, and this is our Puppr app. When I first came to Origin Code Academy, I had come from a car salesman background. I had been in the business for about 3 years, and I just decided one day it was time to do something different. And I did some researching. I saw an ad online for Origin Code Academy, and I thought, like, hey, I like computers, I like coding. I think this might be something that I would like to do. So I did some more research, went to some meetups, and I ended up being in the August cohort. And it's been a great experience for me. The people in the cohort are great people, all of them. And yeah, I'm super excited to show you our app.
Hello everyone, my name is Cassandra Savage, and prior to coming here to Origin Code Academy, I was working at Olive Garden, and I was also going to school to become a math major. However, I decided to move in a different direction when one of my friends completed an earlier cohort and he absolutely loved it. I fell in love with coding, and I would like to thank everyone for these amazing 3 months. It has really changed my life. Thank you.
Alrighty, so this is our Puppr app. The original idea was actually Cassandra's. She loves dogs a lot. If you guys know her over there, they know. And she really wanted to do something just involving dogs, and I decided to join her on the project to help her out with that, because I love animals too, especially dogs, man's best friend. And how I thought of it when I joined her is like, what is one thing that people like to take pictures of other than themselves or their food, which is their pets, their dogs, their cats, all of that. This focuses on the dog aspect. The technologies we use with this is, of course, Angular in the front end with our back-end database, all that consisting of C#, ASP.NET for authorization, authentication, MySQL database. And for our CSS, we use Bootstrap, something that we've been very familiar with in this entire cohort. And we'll go ahead and do a sign up. So we're going to sign in a new user here. Every username has to be unique. Of course, it gets saved to the database. You can't have duplicates. Passwords need to match. They need to have a certain length. Must agree to our terms of service. And you click sign up. Takes you to the beginning information page. This is for the owner, which is kind of just basic because we want to keep the focus more on the dog and how they interact with the other dogs in the community. And the whole kind of vision of the app is for people to take photos of other dogs. They can have up to 3 dogs in our web app, and they challenge other owners and their dogs to little categorized mini battles. So basically considering like, oh, my dog is the fluffiest. So you find other dogs that you want to challenge, and you would just challenge a dog. It'd create a battle page. People can then vote and see which dog is the best.
Here brings you to the dashboard, which you can then go and edit your picture for yourself and for your dogs. We use the file picker API to help with the uploading of the pictures and saving it to our database. And users can have up to 4 pictures for every single dog they have, and up to 3 dogs in total. Yep, that's good. So it shows here, you can go to the profile page, which has the dog's picture. It also has everything you put in their kind of description, their name, the day they were born, what they like to play with, their favorite activities. And in the corner, actually has the owner profile page. In the little. Oh, so yes, of course, you wouldn't be able to challenge yourself with the little button right there, because you're beating yourself. Who really wins there, you know? You click the little circle, and it goes right to the owner page, which has description, name. You go back.
If you had more dogs, they would be populated right here.
Right. Multiple pets would populate on the side right there. And here, we're going to go ahead and go to our battles. And you can, at this point, these are all the dogs that are currently not actually battling, but they are users. Their owners have signed them up, and they are available to challenge and battle. And so you click on the picture, it takes you to the profile, and then you can go ahead and challenge them. Choose your dog, choose the photo you'd like, choose a category down below. We have a lot of different ones: cutest, most like Harambe. And then you click the challenge button right there, and it takes you to the battle page. So here you have the one you challenge and yourself, and you just click vote. The vote's saved to the database and just gets stored there, every single one. You can only vote once per battle. Of course, you can vote for yourself. And if you try again, it'll tell you you're not able to vote again. Go ahead and go to our leaderboards next. Here, of course, lists all the dogs as well, up to 10, whichever one has the most votes all the way at the top. So that's kind of also one of the little goals, to have your dog at the top. Go to the vote page. This right here is all the current battles. So at the top, we have the battles going on in every category. Then at the bottom, we have recently ended battles. And show right there. For the sake of the presentation, we edited our battles to be disabled within a minute of being created. So you could see that after a certain amount of time, the battle ends, you can't vote anymore, and whoever has the most votes is the winner. So you can see right there, we have Phoenix, who is not here, but he was excited to be part of our app. Yeah, so that's the 5 most recent battles your dog was in. It will show the up-to-date votes for each one. Aside from that, why don't we show them the login? Yeah. Yeah. We have a user that's already in there. Any one of them. User 11. So it's Coco right there. As you can see, Coco is currently winning one battle and losing one battle. So Coco needs to step it up. And then from there, you can add more dogs. Right there is kind of the same setup that as when you sign up. And
same thing with this many pictures that you have. You can only have a maximum of 4 pictures. So that is currently disabled.
And you can delete the pictures just by clicking the little trash can right there. It's very simple and easy.
Also completely removed with what's on the database as well.
And yeah, I think that's our app. Thank you very much. So, panel.
I mean, are you guys thinking, is this just pretty much a code, boot camp project, or is this something that you guys are looking at pursuing after the fact?
No, it's just a nice little project.
Just showcase on your resume, so well done then. I mean, I think applications would be tough to scale something like this, but it's definitely cool. It'd be a cool, like, add-on to Facebook that you could just do, like, do puppy battles on Facebook. So.
That's what we were thinking about, how, like, a lot of people have Facebooks for their dogs and different pets and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we got the idea from.
It comes back to finding a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if whatever you guys decide to do, it's probably going to be full of pastel colors and look pretty cool and probably be pet oriented, which is awesome because we need more pet coders. We don't have that. Really, like, I thought it was laid out really well. I've seen a lot of people trying to accomplish profiles for kids, or for kids, and because like the whole kid market, right? You can't have a Facebook if you're a kid, and for the pet market because people love their pets almost more than they love their kids. This was really close to one of the better, like, alpha beta products that I've seen for that kind of space. So nice work.
Thank you. Yes.
I can see that this app is designed for human beings. Wouldn't it be fun if you could let the dogs actually know they won the battle?
The owner could give them a treat every time they win a battle.
They could really get a treat from seeing the other dogs actually in a video system whereby
We were actually thinking.
the dogs could also enjoy the fight.
Yeah, we were thinking if we had the time for it, in the future, if we decided to move on with it as like an actual thing, we were just throwing all these ideas like, oh, we could have these monthly contests, and whoever won the contest would earn like a $50 gift card to Petco or PetSmart or something like that. But yeah, we're going with just web app for our presentation. Yes.
Would you allow, like, if you were going further on, for people to comment? Like, to leave comments and stuff like that? Like, or do you think that would
We
get
were
ugly?
considering that,
People
but that
might
would
say,
be-
like, my dog's the cutest. Don't talk about my dog.
Right, or people might be mean, like, oh, your dog's ugly. Like, no, your dog's ugly. You want to fight?
I think there would just be too much potential with that. We actually, like, honestly, were thinking about that at the very start. We're just like, what if we can message other people? Like, oh, I like your dog. That type of thing. And it was just like, people aren't very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, say if 20 people are doing the cutest dog or something.
Mhm.
So every time you're voting, is it only one, like, would you show all the 20 candidates that came in and your dog, or is it just every one?
It's one-to-one battles. So, yeah, you would see the 20 battles going on in that one category, but when you clicked on a battle, it would just show the person who challenged and the defender. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, guys.
presentation?
Right here. There we go.
Go for it. For the live stream. So we can see your product better.
Huh?
So we can see your product better.
Oh, you want us to push it back, or?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Who's intimidated by how well you're dressed?
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I guess this is going to be our Shark Tank pitch, okay? We'll give it our best shot. So today myself, Robert Martinell Campo, and my colleague here, Lenny Castaneda, we're going to present to you what we call the Customer Sales Order Management System, or SaaS. And basically it's bringing can efficiency to an emerging growth industry. So just before we go into the details, basically backgrounds with regards to myself. Basically, I have a BS in mechanical engineering, also an MBA coming from the University of Texas of El Paso. I had basically operations experience working in Mexico for over 10 years for a specific company. Left that company this past year, during the early part of the year. And I wanted to start exploring something new, right? I always had this affinity for coding. And I thought, well, this is the opportunity. Why not do it? So I found an ad on Facebook for Origin Academy and said, well, you know, I'm going to do it. And here I am. And here I am to present my project. So it became a reality for my case. Lenny?
Okay, my name is Lenny Castaneda. I have a journalism degree from San Diego State. I've been in the news media business since 2006, that's when I graduated, and I got out in 2009. That was during the recession. That's when I started an ATM machine business and video production company. So for the past 9 years, I've been self-employed. And during that recession, I was like, I need multiple streams of income. So ATMs was perfect because you can make money while you sleep. And because it was ATM machines, we had these in medical marijuana dispensaries. Before Eric Holder dropped the hammer and literally told the DEA to take them all out of San Diego, we had them in there. When I was in there, I got to know that business very well as far as how it operated. And I mean, we have ATM machines everywhere else, so every other business and industry I was in, I sort of gathered information, which I stored until now when I figured out that the ballot's coming around, and I did some calls. They're like, yeah, these delivery dispensaries, we're messing with paper, we have Excel sheets, everything's a mess. There's unorganized. It's totally ripe for organization and optimization. And so that brings us into the problem, which is where these dispensary deliveries in San Diego, and this is just within the scope of San Diego only for now until laws generate to make it suitable for other places. We're trying to take the inefficiency out of their paper order system. Right now, what they're doing is they're getting phone calls from a customer, or patient is what they would call them, that finds them on a listing on Weed Maps, finds the phone number, calls them, and it's just phone order calls all day, writing on a piece of paper, sending it to the driver, and the driver goes around and he just types it into there. So it's super inefficient. The driver's phoning around with Post-it notes. So this is not an attack on Post-it notes. It's just a way to make more efficient orders with products that are kind of dangerous until it all gets legalized because there's a black market that exists. So our solution is to create an application that organizes all the customer data, all the order data, all the drivers, and so that the dispensary owner, the small business owner, which, by the way, are all mom and pop shops that can deposit their cash in a bank, so they keep cash on hand. And so it's super old school right now until laws change and then everything transitions. So right now it's an interesting time to really make it efficient for them when they are able to scale to full-on recreational use. So that's that. And then also, because they're mom and pop shops, they're used to doing paper, Excel sheets, and then, I don't know, Google Docs, Word Docs. We wanted to make a system where it's not as intimidating. So there's competitors out there, And because of these competitors, they're like everything, POS system, management system, everything, and it's just too much. It's just too much for them. And we just wanted to make it something simple for orders, customers, products, that's it. And here we are.
So what is the current landscape around cannabis? So if we focus around the dispensaries, most of their focus is around delivery services. And why? Because there's a lot of the, let's say, counties or municipals have started clamping down on dispensaries themselves as far as zoning and make it difficult to set up a dispensary, especially like, for example, in Chula Vista just recently in the news. I don't know if you noticed, it started clamping down on dispensaries as far as where they can be located, you know, from a school, neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of these are just going to delivery services. Now, when we focus around these delivery services, basically they're doing between 30 to 100 transactions per day. So what does that equal to? About average of $80 per transaction. So you can imagine how much money they're bringing in from 30 to 100 transactions per day. Now, there's about 150 dispensaries just located here in the San Diego County. So there's a lot of opportunity out there to touch base with these specific delivery services.
Those are just deliveries, not including the actual storefronts.
Now, all of these, as Lenny had mentioned before, are basically advertised through Weedmap. So that's basically like the Yelp for medical dispensaries. So if you get yourself listed on there, that's how people will find you and call you and order products through that process. Now, what does the future landscape hold here for California? So as you know, this coming month we're going to have the general election. And basically there's 9 states that are going to have this in the ballot to basically legalize some sort of recreational marijuana. Basically, the current outlook just for the state of California is that 58% are going to basically approve of this proposal that's going to be put forth in the ballot, which is Proposal 64. Now, California expects about $1 billion in just tax revenues from the specific, from taxing recreational cannabis. Now, right now the estimates are that, you know, just last year was almost $3 billion in sales just for medical marijuana. They estimate that this could go up to about 3 times more than it's currently worth if they legalize the recreational part of it by 2020. Sorry.
And then it's, you know, obvious to know that Colorado is definitely not hurting for money right now. They have more money than they know what to do with. In fact, they're actually they're giving it away to like charities. I mean, they have so much revenue, they're just giving it back. And so it's just an obvious solution to a social problem, actually. And we're trying to create a software solution that helps them be more efficient. And our focus right now is strictly on San Diego market. We're going to be doing, once we're done with the final touches as far as the security goes, beta testing will immediately begin for dispensaries, and then we're going to start beginning the monetization plans, whether it's a $100 a month monthly subscription to all 150 dispensaries, that's $15,000 a month, or we do $1 per transaction. It's definitely something to get started and to make money immediately if it works, and if it works properly, which we'll be doing through beta testing. Potential partnerships. So our app can work well with another driver app. Right now the drivers are just going to be getting Twilio messages that instead of a Post-it note, it's just on their phone, which they're already using anyway. And most of the drivers are all like millennials age anyway, so they all know what's going on with the smartphone. But there is a Bay Area company called Ease and another one out of LA called Netsdrop, which is kind of like an Uber for these deliveries drivers. And so maybe we can contact them. Actually, Snoop Dogg is an owner of Ease. He invested in them, by the way. But we can tap into their APIs and then have Ease drivers tap into our app so that they can check in and this and that. Or we can create the app ourselves, which it shouldn't be that difficult, but what do I know? It's probably way more difficult than I think. So Weed Maps is another thing that we relied heavily on. So without reinventing any wheels, and so that dispensaries didn't have to reinvent any wheels and update, add products, have a whole tedious process, we just tapped in and Weed Maps is, public JSON data and binded it to ours, and that was it's pretty much straightforward once you figure out how to surf those JSON files.
Once we're done with that, it'll be scalable to Orange County and Los Angeles and who knows where else. I mean, Frisco if it's legal there. Competitors. And this goes back to the original point of competitors having too much for these mom and pop shops, and it's just overwhelming. So WebJoint and RouteStar are these companies, one's in LA, one's in Florida. It's just too much for them. And you imagine, I mean, have you ever had employees and you're working on paper system and then you have to switch them all over to digital? I mean, just to convince them that it's okay to do that without being intimidated is a tough job. So that's why we wanted to make it super simple. Technology is involved. Standard HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, of course, Lodash, which is absolutely necessary when you want to do JSON files, grabbing and iterating through functional programming, Sass, and Angular Material, where the Angular Material is really cool. There's a guy, Thomas Burleson, which is the team lead at Angular Material in Google. They did an excellent job with this, and I was just so happy that it. Literally, you create a button, MD button, and you click it, and it has all the animations hover. You don't. It just takes the work out of it. So we could focus strictly on function.
For the back-end side, so basically we did that based on C#. We used Entity Framework. We used basically a SQL Server to be able to talk to. And we also used the ASP.NET. As far as other additional technologies, as we mentioned earlier, we're using Tool to send messages out. We also have the basically the server already live, and it's in Azure. We're using those services. And for authentication, we're using Auth0. Those are basically the third-party services that we're using with our back-end. Now, what's next? So basically, we're going to give you a technology demo. And I just want to emphasize this. It's just software. We are not selling anything, right? This is just providing a customer management system. I just want to be clear of that. So basically right now, Lenny's going to go into the primary screen. Basically here we can register. So we've tapped off basically off weed maps. Here is a listing of all the available delivery dispensaries here in the San Diego County. So you can go and choose your, well in this case, the dispensary can choose their specific location and then just register themselves within our app.
And now on a technical note, so one of the things that I didn't know is, and as far as architecture planning goes, is like, okay, if they register with one, with this one, then that means they'll have a separate login for all of these. And because they're mom and pop shops, maybe they just need one. And so a fork in the road, I need to go back to these dispensaries and talk to these ones that are specifically doubled up and figure out how their operations go. So it's going to actually take some more digging. I actually made some phone calls before pre-hand, but now I need to know a little bit more about their operations, and so that's kind of where I'm at as far as the technical side goes. But ultimately, anyone can sign up and do that. And let's just assume that TrueMeds is already logged in. And you can go there.
So basically where this is going to take us to is going to be what we have a primary dashboard, and basically in this dashboard we can actually see as a dispensary owner what our sales are for the day, how many patients we have that we service. In case in some time future we want to do like maybe promotional campaigns, we want to send out messages, we know how many, or we start seeing, hey, some of these guys are disappearing, so what's going on. At the same time, since right now this is focused toward medical cannabis, as you know, they require what they call an MMIC, and for that they have an expiration date. So if your permit's about to expire, well, you probably need to reach out to those customers and let them know, hey, your permit's about to expire. The other thing that we have here is how many drivers are on shift. So the thought process here is to be able to check in if we do a mobile app or even through maybe Twilio, sending messages into the server to let you know that, hey, we're currently working or not working. And the other thing we can see here is how many orders have been delivered, right? So we can see, hey, how's my business running? And this is the primary reason for this dashboard here.
And just so you're curious, we're going to optimize for responsiveness, which is a big requirement because these dispensers are most likely running their business from their phone. So you need to make it to where it's easy for them to navigate through, and having it responsive was absolutely necessary for that. Let's go to, and so we have the orders.
So we're going to show you here the order screen. So basically this is where a dispensary owner can see what they have basically for the day, which orders have been delivered, which are still pending to be delivered. Right now, basically what we're going to show you is a specific order here in the system. So right now we can update the status of the order. So let's say a driver says, hey, I just delivered this. At this moment, dispensary owner could go back and change the status. As we mentioned earlier, I mean, most of these are mom and pop shops, so we want to start them slow, right? Get comfortable with it. And then after that, start adding some technology so once they get comfortable around this. We can edit an order, as you can see. And at the same time, we can also add a new order. So as you can see, we have multiple addresses for a specific customer. And we can also add additional products to this specific order. All this basically is based on the products listing provided through Weed Maps. So all that information is basically coming through there. We just tie to it through our application. So if you want discounts, you can get a discount in there, and I'll basically subtract it from your order. So if we want to enter a new order here, basically we have the drop down for the drivers that are basically in shift right now. We select it. We can search by name real quickly, the patient. Select the address that's on file when you register with the dispensary. And then basically we can change delivery notes, or they're already pre-populated based on the first time that you set up. And we just add the products that the customer requires. We submit the order, and basically what that will do, that will send out the message through Twilio out to the driver, letting him know that, hey, here's an order you need to deliver, and we'll show you that real quick. So here's the Twilio message that I just received in my cell phone, so I'm the customer. If we click on the address, that basically can now take me to the iPhone maps, and basically I could just press the button and just take me to the address and deliver the product. So that's a real cool feature that we're using, tapping through the Apple technology.
And that is and that's for the driver to use right there with that Twilio message. These products, so imagine you have a dispensary, you have 272 products. Do you want to upload all this yourself individually through the thumbnail and the description? No, probably not. So we just uploaded it automatically by calling Weed Maps and associating the dispensary ID with the products, and here they are. So that it's just an easy transition for them to use. There shouldn't be any reason not to use it. And here's a patient's view, so that we can get into some patient details. This has all the information that the dispensary can use. It identifies your primary address among many. Let's just say we want to edit that. We can go in. I could delete this address. I can update this. I'll submit, and that's successfully added. And again, so we wanted to keep it very simple. I mean, we don't want to overwhelm the user with too much. We just want to replace their Post-it notes with this app that they can use on their phone or on their desktop. And so it eases the transaction with the drivers and the customers. And it probably provides a better experience for the customer, too, so that it looks like the dispensaries have their stuff together and more organized. All right, any questions?
That's pretty much it. Any questions?
How long have you guys been working on this?
Basically all month long, all these 4 weeks. Yes.
How did you guys come up with the idea? Was it just from your background?
First, we wanted to sell the actual weed cartridges online as an e-commerce site, but
after further investigation, we noticed
nobody wants to touch it. Any delivery companies won't touch it, especially post office, and that's highly illegal. And the idea is you can't cross along state lines at all. You can cross around your own state, even if they're legal in Oregon and in California. You can't cross those imaginary invisible lines. And so I was like, okay, well, what can we do to shift it? And so I shifted it. Like, all right, well, let's not touch any of it. Let them. I just sort of looked at wheels that were already invented and kind of figure out a way to manipulate it so that we can make it more efficient.
So basically, we started brainstorming, okay, if we can't go with this approach, what can we do, right? So this is how we come up with this idea. Started researching the industry. Yeah, we saw there's already competitors out there, as we mentioned. Ease is one of them, right? Nestrop, there's Canary, and there's one or two others already out there. But it seems like they haven't really been able to penetrate the dispensary services.
Because no one's really calling them personally.
So there's a company. Well, first of all, I just want to toot my own horn. I'm an investor in Twilio, so keep using Twilio. And, so yay for that. First of all, there's hundreds of people doing this. What you guys are doing. Traded is based in San Diego, has a platform that does this for the dispensaries. They're not very public about it. They're the authority in Colorado for, they run, I think they're over 40% market share in Colorado, but they're based in San Diego, so yay! Okay, and it's a good one. So from a business perspective, like on that business slide where you had those things, never underestimate your competitors that you don't know. There's a cannabis incubator in San Diego, Canopy San Diego. Their first class just started like a month ago, and they're doing really well. They had a huge amount of applications waiting for the laws to change in November. Currently, none of their companies touch product. They're all service-based, like what you guys are building. So if I had to like dissect what you guys just did, you got a long way to go from the presentation perspective. Focus on the problem you're solving without all the detail, because you have, again, just like the other, like the game, right? The game guys are up here. Had a lot of moving parts in detail. You guys do too. What you need to do is just dumb it down to the simplest things. We transport and manage kind of like high-profile products, because I can easily see this going into other types of verticals that aren't just cannabis. And so you don't want to kind of pigeonhole yourself in there. You want to come up with some messaging for the company that you transport controlled substances or whatever. And maybe not that, but and it works a lot better. And I just think there's a long way to go in this space. One of the reasons why, and I've talked with a lot of these cannabis shop owners, just like you have, but on the side of why is everything cash, it's because they want to keep it cash. They want it to be a cash business. So there's like 40% of the market that just, they're going to be, unless the government says they have to use the system, they're not using it. So whatever you guys think the market is, cut it in half. And that's just the starting point in San Diego, right? And then whatever you think that is, cut that. So you're like 25% is kind of your market opportunity. So anyways, good job on building something in such a very short period of time. I hope you can find folks to use it. But there's a long way to go. The one thing I am not seeing in the market that would be interesting, because you guys have thought about it, is the transportation, inner city transportation. It's really fragmented. They could really use some sort of system like this to help manage the transportation of goods. What I've seen, which is probably like a small piece of it, is just really bad. And so if you've done this in a month, imagine what you could do with harder problems, because I think the problem you're solving isn't as hard as the customer thinks it is. So anyways, nice work.
Thank you. Any other questions?
That to me is probably the weakest part of this. Is I spent a whole bunch of time in commercial freight, and there's what's known as cartage agents and freight forwarders, and they're kind of a regional terminal to terminal. Is a better way to manage drivers. And I don't know whether they're hired or contracted, but better driver management. They say, hey, I'm free, I can take this one, or I can take that one, or I don't want to go over there. With a mobile app.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So that industry is extremely Wild West right now. They're all subcontractors, and
It's perfect for your system.
it's
Wild West.
So I'm saying that's exactly why it's perfect. And this was the scope of it was not too much way over our heads. It was just enough to a small industry that's barely even legal, but enough to create a technology that just makes just what they do efficient. Just what they do, just within that scope.
I think just, yeah, but just like you said, with tons of competitors, I mean, I could name like 6 just from like buddies that are in the business that are doing the same deal. Yeah, and they're not that expensive. You know, I think there's a handful of free ones that are out there that allow for, there's like Salesforce-based ones for CRMs that are now doing this. I think from a barriers to entry, pretty heavy if you guys want to pursue this. I think as a project, 4 weeks, it's really impressive. I mean, you guys, you know, use a lot of different technology, you integrate a lot of cool stuff. I mean, it looks like it's a almost fully functional web app. Like, it's not just like, oh, we want this to do this eventually. It's actually doing it for you. So, impressive on that end. In terms of taking it to market, I mean, it's just there's a lot of companies doing it. So, just you know, in that sense, when you're doing a presentation with anything and you list competitors, just from like a viewer, you know, you list 2 competitors, and I just thought of like 6 or 8 others. So. Make sure just whenever you present on anything that you really, you know, just do that like deep research on stuff like that. Because if anyone, especially if you're going for funding, and someone in the audience is like, oh no, actually I can make it much more competitive. They even realize they're out there. They're just not going to take you that seriously from that point on.
So the dispensaries that I talked to weren't using any of them. Yeah. They don't want to use them.
But if they wanted to, they would. So
yeah, and that's why I wanted to work with them. So they tell me exactly what they need, because these companies are not going to the owners, sitting down with them, and like, well, what's your process? What is this? And then each dispensary is different.
And it's basically the integration, as we talked about. I mean, when you do a CRM or ERP implementation, the biggest obstacle is, you know, trying to move that organization into that new system, right? From a legacy system or a legacy process into new process, it's always difficult.
I'm going to jump in real quick, just because we need to next thing going. And Lenny will be 65.
To the bitter end.
Yes.
So yeah, so good job on
Thank you.
Are you guys ready? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just thinking
No, I know. We'll keep it for
All right, so we only got 2 more, and then we'll all head downstairs. So, floor's all your guys.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. So my name is Herberto Basulto. I was in the military, in the Navy, as a rescue swimmer for 6 years. I got out last year in May and jumped straight into school, pursuing a degree in computer science. While in school, through some ads and through some professors, they mentioned these coding boot camps. So after doing some research, I found that there were a few here in San Diego. I set up a meeting with Jeff, and he convinced me it's the way to go. So now I'm here.
My name is Cole Logan. A little bit about myself. As of last year, I was working construction for a few months before going into college. During college, I was considering pursuing a degree in computer science, and then I found out about working Code Academy, so I took the chance, came here, became a student, and ultimately became a software developer.
Awesome. So we have Phoenix here. He's the product owner. Unfortunately, he's not here, so he's here in spirit. All right, so let's go into our app. This is Boss. She's a pit bull boxer mix. We rescued her. She when we got her a few weeks later, she got really sick. She got parvo, and among other things. So the biggest issue at that time, besides her being sick, is just managing her medical record, managing the shots, the medications, the different time frames between the shots, and on top of that, the multiple visits to the vet. We just didn't keep track, or could have done better keeping track of all that stuff. It was just hard, and then yeah, sorry. I'm trying to keep this brief because I know everyone's hungry. So this is where Chewbarka comes into play. Chewbarka is an application for dog owners. Dog owners will come here, and the goal of Chewbarka is to help an owner keep their puppy healthy. As far as technologies we use for the app,
We mainly use the meat stack, which is MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node.js. We use Passport for authentication and login. We use Bulma for the styling, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
awesome. So we set up a little Halloween theme for the landing page. Login, register. Owner, new users can come here and register, plug in their basic information. I'll go ahead and log in.
Alright. So this is the overview page. So this is the overview page. This is where all of your information gets funneled. So I'm going to walk you through it. So at the top, we have the owner's information. So like if you move or anything, or if you change the number or you change your email, you can edit it. Pretty simple. This feature is other owners' pups. So this is like a social, kind of a social. We added this so like you could view other dogs registered with the app.
Random image
Yeah.
every time you log in.
We got a quick reference for dog parks nearby your location. So if you just want to go to the dog park, you can look at that. Look at the closest dog parks near you. Right here we have the next visit to the vet. Quick reference also. When is your next vet visit due?
Focus of your dog.
Right. We have added pup. We'll demo that later. We have a pup's grocery list. This is like all your dog's needs. This you could add anything. Buy more food. Anything that your pup needs. And then here is your dogs that are registered with your app. So right now we have Phoenix and we have Obi-Wan. So to view their information, you click on them. We'll show that later.
Yeah, we'll show that in a bit. Let's go ahead and just add it.
We'll add it. Yeah.
So upload a profile image of your pup. Go ahead and do there. Ew. Bear. It's for gray. Let's go with gray for now. It's large, super large. Weight. Jesus. All right. No allergies. Healthy dog. Birth date. 10/24/2012. Boom. All right. Chip information. Random for now. No medications.
We had Texas.
Yep, he's a healthy dog. All right, so as soon as you add a pup, he'll display right on one of the tiles. For demoing purposes, we'll jump into Phoenix's profile. So here we get an overview of all of Phoenix's information. On the left-hand side is all of his information. An owner can update it if they need to, especially for the medications. Let's see. On the right-hand side is the medical record. Here, Kelly can keep this up to date with every visit. So pretty much you go to the vet. Let's say he went to the vet today, got a rabies shot. You just plug in the date. Time is really not required. And it'll update. Let's say she wants to take it a step further and upload the actual medical record. She has the ability to do so. She'll just upload the record here, and then just view it. There we go. We can see his recent vaccination status. Down here is Phoenix's workout log. Let's see what she's done. So she's taken Phoenix on walks, on hikes to Mount Miguel. She did an ocean swim with Phoenix. The goal here is to just keep track of how active she's keeping Phoenix, making sure that he's healthy. For whatever reason, let's say Phoenix gains a little bit of weight or anything, this is just a tool for her to just keep on track on getting him healthy. Now, granted, as a workout log, it doesn't need to be strictly a workout log. Let's say Phoenix, or any dog requires any medication, any special medications, or certain time frames, any reminders, they can use it for whatever they need. And then moving on from here, we'll go to, there we go. We'll go to the events page.
All right, so events page populates all the dog events in your area. These events can be adoption events, dog walking events, any event related to your dog. And if you want more detail, or this is optional. So like you could look.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the search bar, you can look for another location. This is optional, like to see other location events.
Yeah, if you're traveling to New York and you want to find out if there's a dog event there, it'll take a second. But you get the idea. So moving on from here, we're going to go to the Explore. Well, it is still searching. It's just taking a while. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I didn't hit search. So yeah, Queens Village is having an event.
Right. So like you can click the URL if you want more detail or more pictures of the event.
Bam. All right. Moving on from here, we'll go to the Explore page. This page is pretty cool. This is on the left-hand side. We'll get a map of the nearest dog beaches and overnight stays. So let's say there's an emergency and you need someone to watch your pup overnight. You can just come here. It'll populate a list or a map full of overnight stays. Right-hand side, you get the dog parks again and the grooming shops nearby. This is all based off the owner or where the owner is currently. And then.
All right. So this is all of the owners' photos. Like all of the owners that are registered with the app. These are all of their dogs. So if you want to make your dog picture public, you post it to the photos page, and it could be viewed by other owners with the app.
So yeah, this is going to be a feature we'll eventually add. It's a more community-based part of the site. Here, owners can connect with each other. They can talk about maybe setting up play dates, dog parks, or anything they want. It's just to connect owners. And then from here, we'll just go back home. And any questions?
So the events for dogs, how did you guys tie that in?
Through there's an API, Eventful. They help us gather all the events, and we just populate it on our site.
So are you guys constantly populating that for each, or is it like just slide? Yeah, so you just type in a location and it tells you what's going on there.
Yeah, for dogs. Yeah, for dogs.
And then with the overnight stays, is that like Rover or something like that you guys tied in, and how'd you guys?
A Google search, just a Google search for these overnight stays.
Oh, it's just like pulls up.
Yeah, it pulls up just the nearest overnight stays.
Overnight dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bam. So goal is keep your dog healthy, keep him happy. Any more questions?
I think you created like the ultimate dog owner dating site.
Nice.
Swipe to play to me.
And so I think it's clever. It's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
So my only advice would be skinny it down a little bit.
Okay.
Work on the priorities of the owner, and really track the analytics of where people are going, because if they're constantly going to those cute dogs or whatever, they're constantly going to the opposite sex of the owner kind of thing. If you can track any of that to show like there's a dating connection piece, that would be really interesting. There's a lot of people that are putting money into like these niche dating services, and this would categorize as one of those.
Okay.
Any more questions?
So as the standing in for the product owner, since Phoenix isn't here right now, for you guys, what was the most challenging part? I had a lot on my list, and you guys really covered almost all of it. So definitely.
For me.
For you guys, what was the most challenging part?
For me, the logging.
So just basically, we using the mean stack, we never used this. So learning the new technologies and from scratch, and getting help from Cameron, and yeah, that was the hardest part for me, just learning the technology. But once we got it, it's just smooth.
So just piggyback on that. So the Code Academy is you guys primarily learn what C# and .NET versus.
Well, yeah, Mongo was introduced to us like right when the project was started. So
this was all just like from you guys just online learning and making it happen. It's impressive.
I'm super impressed. Yeah, you guys nailed it. Phoenix approved.
Any more questions? Thank you.
So we're at a meeting, hold on, Antonio.
Hey, and then I don't know if you guys know beverages. It's like I think that one versus like a Google search calendar dates looking for.
For each one?
It's the same thing. Beverages.com is all of it. I mean, there's still a bunch of sites, but yeah, that's the biggest one. But the concept.
It sounds like more visual. I liked your visual. Test us around on it.
Cool concept. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, it works.
All right.
Yeah.
Alright, so where's that?
Where's that movie thing?
I'm waiting. Well, the biggest one. I just copied
Yeah, I know, because it's going off the screen. Well, it's okay now. Well, I couldn't get the button before. That's the live controller. Alright.
We're all married. Oh, okay. Each other, or? Oh, no. I can give you a background. I've done a lot of this year.
Alrighty. Is everybody good? Ready? I'll let Michelle kick us off.
All right. Well, we're going last, but certainly not least. The three of us have been working really hard for the last 4 weeks to try and put something really cool together that we named. My name is Michelle. I started here at Origin because I moved here from San Diego about a year ago, and I was living in Seattle. I got my degree in interior design, which is where I learned a lot about design concepts and art, and I really have a passion for that. And I found that in this industry you can really apply that knowledge, through UI design and user experience, which is something that I'm really passionate about. But I like dabbling in the back end stuff too. But yeah, I moved here. I was working in the restaurant industry and having a lot of fun, making a decent amount of money, and living like a fun life. But I wanted to get like a career started, so I stumbled upon Origin, and for the last 5 months I've been diving into code and just kind of grinding it out.
My name is Drew Stepanek. Born and raised in Southern California. Kind of happy here. So yeah, before this course, I used to work a day-to-day job as a field representative and manager. So I used to make good money, but it wasn't fulfilling. So I decided, I needed a change. So I was introduced to Origin Code Academy, and I was pretty stoked once I heard about it. So I was like, okay, why not? I'll consider it. So I took into considerations the fact that, it costs a pretty penny to come here, and the fact that I never saw an ounce of coding before I came here. So I was pretty happy in the end that I overcame that anxiety, I guess, going into this. And dove in, and yeah, I'm stoked where I am today. So, we'll get ready on Blaine's Saturday.
Hey, I'm Blaine Arnell. Before I started at Origins, I worked in desktop support for about 10 years. My job was pretty cool. I like the people I work with, but it's not the most stimulating job. Felt like there was only a few more times I could ask someone if they tried rebooting their computer. So I knew I wanted to stay in IT. So I considered my options, and coding always sounded cool because you have a tangible product, like something to be proud of when you come home. So I thought that's something I could be passionate about. So I came in, and Jeff's pitch got me in a few minutes, and here I am.
Nice. All right, so what is RIM? Well, it's a location and activity-based friend finder. So to be more clear, I'll give you a little scenario of kind of like how this idea came about. Personally, has anybody in here been bored out of their mind at home, and they hit up a friend, want to do something, and they end up being too busy or at work, and they don't have the time to do so? Every day. Yeah, that's what happens all the time. So, over time, my brother was deployed for like 6 months last year. He's also my roommate. And I always would want to do something like maybe go surf, go hiking, and I'm sure, like I said, you guys know that's more fun to do kind of with another person. Obviously like safety protocol and such, but more so like moral discipline, I guess. So, when he was deployed, I was like, why isn't there an app that can help me out with it? It's not just for dating, but more so for friendships. And I know there's some, like Tinder, that, like I said, they focus more so on a dating basis, and they kind of connect in that sense. But we wanted to keep something simple and exactly friendship-based, not relationship-based. So something that would honestly make a change in the community and make it more of a peaceful place by bringing them together and letting them kind of see a familiar face around town after hanging out with them. So we decided to make an app that's, more so targeting local activities rather than a pretty face. So that's WIM, and then we'll go ahead and kind of give you as a demo of what it has to do with. And we'll give another scenario of, oh yeah.
So
We're
the way we
excited.
put this together, on the front end, we used Angular as our JavaScript framework for that functionality. We definitely knew, like, we knew for the project that we wanted to make it mobile, so we used Ionic as our CSS framework, which is built up on top of Cordova, so that we could, still write JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and then put it into a mobile application. And then as far as the back end, we tried something new and worked with Firebase, which is hosted by Google, so you can talk about that.
Yeah, so we decided to use Firebase. Our app depends on a lot of live interactivity, and Firebase makes it really easy to sync up your server with your client. It also allows you to use your Facebook login to log in pretty easily, and if it's good enough for Shazam, it's good enough for us. So.
All right, so over here on the left side, we have it actually displayed on a mobile application on an iPhone. And then on the right side, we have just a regular inspector on a web browser. So it's kind of the same basis, but this one's actually on the phone. So we'll go ahead and I'll be the user that wants to kind of host an event, go on a whim and do something fun. And then Blaine's going to be the user that launches the app, and he wants to, find that activity, that's something to do. All right, so I'll log in with Facebook. They asked me to authorize it. I'll continue. And it's going to load, and it's going to pop us to the regular dashboard. But since I'm wanting to go ahead and...
I told you. My dog's got a Facebook.
Yeah, it's...
Sorry.
So yeah, we go to the tab, that's the plus symbol, to add an event to the category. So then I'll go ahead and I'll select this anchor element, and what that does is it brings a popover for a drop down of categories to pick from. So pretty self-explanatory. Anything goes covers everything. Sports and fitness, if you want to have pickup games, go to the gym and such with a buddy. Nightlife, you want to grab drinks, hang out, do something fun like that. Food, just go grab a bite to eat. Adventure, hiking, going to the beach and such. Gaming, people like to game. Arts, collaborating on photography and painting and doing all those regular activities. Music. Entertainment, pretty self-explanatory too, going to a concert or such. So in this case, I'm feeling adventurous, so I'm going to hit adventure. Alrighty, so I'll do hike, potato chip rock. Alrighty, the description I'll say, it's a fun hike. Bring plenty of water. You're in for a treat. And then down below, right here after you enter the description and such, you can select how many people you want to join the event. So if you want it to just be you and another buddy, that's just one person. Then you can go up to 10. So we wanted to make it pretty much, you can have a group, but you don't want to be too obnoxious with it and make like 20 people going at the same time. So for this case, I'll go ahead and I'll select, just 5 people. I'll post the event. And it gives you a pretty cool pop-up asking if you're ready to post it. So if you change your mind, you're like, oh, I maybe want 10 people to go. You can cancel and go back. But for this sake, I'll go ahead and keep it at 5. So I'll post the event, and I'll hit OK. And there's 3 little dots bouncing. What that's doing is grabbing your location. So it plugs it in for the user to search within a certain radius so they can discover your event. All right, so it's been posted, and Blaine will go ahead and do his
So
part.
yeah, I'm waking up today. Got nothing specific in mind. Just know I want to do something. So I'll log on and see what's happening. Well, that looks interesting. Oh yeah. So you can also set a distance of like how close you want to be to the event. So anywhere from 3 to 50 miles. I don't want to go that far. So submit radius and swipe right. Sorry, Tinder.
And then as you notice, I'll have a notification pop up almost immediately. So that's where Firebase comes in hand. It's very fast and responsive. So I can see, oh, Blaine wants to join my event. I'll check him out, make sure he's not weird. He's a 35-year-old man.
Taking pictures like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. He likes to party, have fun with. He's a family man. All right, cool, Blaine. You can come along. So I'll accept that.
All right, and then I got a notification. Let's check you out.
We're gonna check it out.
Oh. Well, I guess he's got to fill out his profile. Oh yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So.
All right. So then at that point, it initiates a chat. Once we both have accepted that, so I'll go ahead and click on it, and I'll send Blaine a message saying, "Saw you joined?" ? And he'll see it. And so forth. You know, it's pretty cool. It's a real-time chat application too. You can definitely communicate.
Yeah, so we were able to get it on our phones. So I'm swiping through all these events looking for, I'm also looking for something fun to do, and I come across Drew's event. And I say, okay, that sounds like fun, like I'm going to join it too. So I'm going to swipe, and it should get that notification saying like, oh, I want to join. And then I got one saying, Drew says it's cool. So I'm going to say okay. And then if I go to my chat, I have the potato chip rock one, and so I can go in there and start tagging stuff.
Yeah, that's clearly where we will set up
And I
the
just
time.
want to point out, the message count goes up every time she sends a message. That was horrible to program. So,
yeah. Alrighty, so that's said and done. And now the profile page. So you can go ahead and obviously fill out an About Me. Junior software developer. Whoops, not he. Age. Go ahead and give your age.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and then you can also, like I said, you can see the fact that you have your profile picture, the name, age, About Me. Then down here below, it's a little click on where you can see the event that you have. Because what if something comes up where you want to cancel it or do all that? So then, yeah, you can go ahead and cancel it. You have two options, clearly. You can keep the event by hitting no. It's still on. Cancel the event. Yes, cancel it. Boom, it's gone. So yeah, that's our application. And,
it's simple, but it works.
You know, kind of
So,
changing the game.
Just to talk a little bit about how we tackled the project, as a team, we kind of came up with the idea just by having similar ideas and collaborating. Blaine handled a lot of the Firebase backend stuff. He was kind of like our rock star in that. We did some mock programming with that so we could try and all learn and understand. And then we handled a good part of the front end, putting it together, making it look nice. And it turned out great. We're proud of it.
Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, what's the hardest part? You said that you think that notification thing was stuck on that for a while?
Firebase doesn't really have a structured query language, so I don't want to get too technical, but there's a lot of asynchronous you have to deal with, and like jumping from node to node, and like actually like sending events to register when certain things happen to increment the count. It's a lot went into it.
Just from a functionality standpoint, like if you guys, let's say you're hosting that event, you get 3 people in, you guys decide on a time, you go, all right, we're going. Maybe you don't want to like kill out the chat, but you don't really want anybody else to join. You have like a we're good to go function or something.
Sometimes setting, yeah, it'd be cool too to kind of implement it like they could, still continuing to talk, like you said, like keep that ongoing
without
almost like
leaving the event up.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like almost like your own little social profile. You can obviously exchange pictures and keep up to date with each other. So.
Yeah, we definitely thought about a lot of features like we could add in the future. Like, if you had fun with that person, maybe you add them as a friend and you can, reconnect with them, or, they're not gone forever.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with this after today?
Keep nurturing it and going in the future.
So if you're going to do that, I'll help with feedback, because otherwise you're just going to throw it away. It's not worth feedback, right?
Yeah.
So, focus on a problem and solve it as simple as possible. And the feature opportunities really determines and get whatever at this point you probably don't have a lot of analytics built in with page views and time and all that stuff. Like if you don't, that's your next project. Is just figuring out where people go and what they do. Okay? From there, you can determine what's most relevant and what's least relevant, and start canning products that are just taking up screen space, and then start instituting some of those other feature sets that may be more attractive to you guys or you see that is on the request sheet. I would add a request function or feature somewhere in there, make it super easy, but the analytics, making these types of things work, is what is the difference between the 99.99% of the apps in the App Store that make no money and the 0.01% that do. Okay?
Right.
So that would be bonus. And we were just brought up, like, we liked how you had up some of the code, so you kind of work through it, so that you could see what was going on. If that was just for this exercise, fantastic.
Yeah, we
That's just that we do that in our deeper due diligence meetings, where we actually pull up all the screens. We want to see all the code. We want to see everything running. We want to see. We do this exact same thing. So, getting used to that experience is good if you decide to bring on some extra money.
And beyond just get money, if you decide not to do this and you're going to go interview, having this available to anyone that you're sitting down with and showing, like, having the code while you're clicking through it, so you can see how you write, how it's organized, everything like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, appreciate it.
Any other questions?
No questions. Everyone's like, no, dude, I'm here.
All right, so real quick, we're going to bring up all of the students to get their certificates. Before that happens, I want to thank first the students obviously work super hard, and like some of them, we get uncomfy couches on purpose because they sleep here all the time, and we're trying to discourage that as much as possible, but it still happens. But I just want to give a hand to everybody that supported a student here, because that's just as hard as actually going here, is having somebody just be absent for 3 months, basically, from their house or family. So I just want to give a round of applause to everybody that supported somebody here, because that's just as important. So thank you. And I'll have Cameron call up the students. As soon as that's done, if you're a student, we're going to